The men across the aisle laughed softly, not loudly, just enough to be human, and that was when everything changed. The flight attendant had asked a simple question, something routine about meals, and the single dad answered without looking up from his son's homework, first in English, then smoothly in Spanish when she blinked in confusion, then in French when another passenger leaned in, and finally in Arabic when the child beside him whispered a correction. One language would have been impressive. Two would have been luck. 7, spoken gently, naturally, like breathing, felt impossible. In that moment, surrounded by recycled air and restless strangers, a billionaire who believed she had seen everything felt her certainty crack for the first time in years, and she leaned forward, unaware that this small curiosity would unravel both their lives and stitch them back together in a way neither of them could escape. He was named Adam Halim, and his life fit neatly into a single backpack and a tired smile. He had learned languages the way other people learn to survive, out of necessity. His son, Noah, sat by the window, knees tucked up, coloring a map with flags he could name in more countries than most adults could point to. Adam's voice carried calm, not pride, as he explained a grammar rule in German to Noah, then switched to Mandarin when the boy asked about a character he'd seen on a sign in the airport. Passengers stared, phones half raised, but Adam didn't notice. He had learned long ago that attention didn't pay rent, didn't buy groceries, didn't keep a child warm at night. What mattered was getting to their destination, another city, another short-term contract, another chance to stay afloat. Across from him sat Eleanor Whitmore, a woman whose name moved markets and whose signature decided thousands of futures. She wore wealth the way some people wore armor, tailored, controlled, invisible unless you knew how to look. She had boarded the plane already exhausted by power, by meetings that blurred together, by the quiet loneliness that came from being obeyed rather than understood. She had built an empire in global logistics, yet here was a man with nothing but a backpack who navigated the world more fluidly than any executive she had ever hired. It unsettled her. It fascinated her. And when Noah dropped his crayons and Adam apologized in Japanese to a startled elderly man, Eleanor felt something she hadn't felt in decades, curiosity without an agenda. She waited, told herself she wouldn't interfere, that she would land, attend her conference, and forget this moment like she had forgotten so many others. But when turbulence shook the cabin and Noah's hand tightened around his father's sleeve, Eleanor saw the quiet fear Adam hid behind his calm. She heard him whisper reassurance in Urdu, then English, then Spanish, choosing the words that soothed his child best. That tenderness broke through her restraint. She leaned across the aisle and asked, lightly, where he had learned to speak like that. Adam hesitated. He had learned to be cautious. Then he answered honestly. Refugee camps. Night shifts. Translation gigs that paid in meals. Studying after Noah fell asleep. Failing interviews because employers didn't believe a resume that sounded too good to be true. By the time the plane began its descent, Eleanor's conference notes were untouched. She offered him a business card, nothing more, no promises. Adam accepted it politely, already planning how to politely decline whatever impossible opportunity it represented. People like her didn't change lives. They passed through them. The doors opened, passengers spilled out, and Adam disappeared into the crowd, believing the encounter was over. Eleanor stood still for a moment, watching him go, her mind racing, not with profit margins, but with a single thought that refused to let go. How many people like him had the world quietly wasted? The call came 3 days later, at the worst possible time. Adam was in a cramped apartment, staring at an eviction notice, trying to explain to Noah why they might have to move again. The number was unfamiliar. He almost didn't answer. Eleanor's voice was direct, controlled, but there was urgency beneath it. She didn't offer charity. She offered a challenge. A short-term role. Impossible hours. High pressure. A chance to prove that what she had seen on that flight wasn't a trick of circumstance. Adam wanted to say no. He had said no to hope before. Hope hurt. But Noah looked up at him, eyes bright, trusting, and Adam heard himself agree. What followed tested him in ways he hadn't expected. Boardrooms where executives questioned his presence. Meetings where his accent was judged before his ideas. Late nights balancing spreadsheets while helping Noah with school projects. Eleanor watched from a distance, intervening rarely, letting the world reveal itself to Adam, and letting Adam reveal himself to the world. He didn't just translate languages. He translated people. Conflict softened under his words. Deals closed not because of pressure, but because of understanding. Slowly, skeptics fell silent, then the backlash came. A senior executive accused Eleanor of favoritism. The media dug into Adam's past, twisting survival into suspicion. Contracts wavered. Adam considered walking away, believing once again that he didn't belong in rooms built by privilege. Eleanor finally broke her distance. She stood beside him publicly, not as a savior, but as an equal, admitting she had underestimated talent that didn't look like hers. The risk was enormous. So was the reward. Months later, Adam stood on a stage, not to accept praise, but to speak. He spoke in one language, then another, until the audience understood without translation what he meant, that intelligence is everywhere, but opportunity is not. Eleanor watched from the crowd, changed, quieter, no longer measuring her worth only by what she owned, but by what she had chosen to see. The story didn't end with wealth or titles. It ended with Noah falling asleep in a stable home, with Adam waking up to work that mattered, and with a billionaire who finally understood that the smallest moment, a man speaking gently to his child on a flight, can become the turning point that reshapes a life, if someone is brave enough to act on it.